Sure. Good morning, everybody. It's Bernadette Wagner. I'm here with Primetime for Women's Mindful Monday. I am super excited to have Melissa Noel with us this morning. Melissa is an entrepreneur. She is a part of the fiber community. She's a crafter. I'm going to get her to tell you about all the different things that she's involved in. And then together, we're going to talk about our joint project, the Community Afghan, where we're joining hearts and squares together. Welcome. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Great.
Good. I'm going to see if I can change this gallery view so we can see both of us. So Melissa, can you start off by just telling us a little bit about your different businesses that you and your husband Brian have together?
Sure. So we own Noel's Fire Protection. We've had Noel's Fire Protection now for 16 years, almost 17 now. We have 89 employees that work for us.
Wow.
We install fire protection sprinkler systems in new construction. We do tenant fit outs and commercial also. We do the sprinkler systems. We also own Noel's Fire Protection Management Services, Inc., which is like the labor company for the sprinkler company. We own an ice cream store, which has not opened yet, but it will be opening soon, we hope.
Well, and that's partly due to the COVID stuff, right?
Partly due to the COVID stuff, yes. And then we also own a realty company that we have a few properties under. And then we also happen to have the yarn shop downtown Hagerstown.
So you have your hands and your fingers in just many, many different things in our community. And in all of them, you have this incredibly positive attitude. I don't know how many of you saw in our local newspaper that a building collapsed in downtown Hagerstown. But that was where the yarn shop was located. And I got this lovely email from Melissa this weekend that said, the building had collapsed, my shop I can't get into, but we're moving forward with the Community Afghan. So tell us a little bit about your initial reaction and how you got to that place where you're ready to, that resilience where you're ready to move forward.
When it first happened, I did nothing but cry on Thanksgiving morning. I was very upset. It happened on Wednesday evening, but we were so grateful and thankful that nobody in the building was hurt. Because if it would have happened at night, somebody definitely could have been killed. It was just bad. The whole entire back end of the building is what the inside collapsed down. The yarn store is still intact, but we're not permitted in the building right now because it's been condemned for the moment until they can shore it up and make sure it's safe for all of us to get back in there again.
Right.
We'll probably have to move out temporarily for a little bit. The city of Hagerstown sent me a great email and said, hey, we have temp space for you. So I'm working with them to get moved out of there to get in temp space. We're not giving up.
You never give up. I know that about you.
I don't give up. And Thursday then I started thinking about this Afghan and I was like, oh, this isn't going to stop me. I'm like, this Afghan's for a great cause. And there was no way I was going to let something as having to close my shop down stop to do this and not do this Afghan. I'm still inspired to do it.
Yeah, so the fun thing about this for us is Prime Time for Women. Really, our mission is to celebrate, connect, and empower women, and bring women together and realize the benefits of community. And Melissa's business really supports the fiber community and women who are interested in crocheting, knitting, embroidery, all kinds of different material. What do you call it? Fiber crafting.
Fiber crafting. We do rug punching. We do a whole bunch of stuff.
Right. And we got talking about how during this pandemic, people feel alone and isolated and the desire to connect. So we thought that we would do a Community Afghan. And I have to say, I had done one years ago. And this Afghan, it's really big. I'm not going to unfold it all the way. But it has squares that were granny squares that were crafted by we actually had so many women each create a 2-round granny square that we had 3 Afghans, and they are individually, a square doesn't provide a lot. It's a reflection of one woman's handiwork. But when it is attached and joined to other, it creates a blanket that is warm and provides comfort and support. And that's how we are as community, right? And that's especially in the fiber community, that's been your experience.
That's absolutely my experience. We've always come together every time something goes wrong, or even, you know, you're just having a bad day, just sitting down with others and talking and having your hands going and keeping busy. You really do find a connection with other women, and, you know, it makes for just an easier day.
Right, right. And I think that crafting yarn, for me especially, I do a lot of crocheting. There's a meditative component to it, and until you've really done it, I think it's you can't understand how that repetition can be a soothing part to your day. So I usually crochet at night, so it's I'll listen to a podcast or put on some music or watch a TV show, and it's this kind of relaxing thing. When do you do your work?
I usually do mine in the evening too, usually as soon as I can sit down.
Right, right.
Usually it doesn't happen to about 8 o'clock at night, because I do have children also at home. My youngest is 12 and she's also on the spectrum, so I really have my hands full.
Right.
But after I get her settled, I usually sit down and I work on a project on purpose.
Right.
Even if I just don't feel like putting my hands up there for that evening, I know as soon as I start doing it, I will feel calmer, more centered, breathe deeper, and then I'll be able to sleep and relax that evening.
Right, that makes sense. So Melissa, one of the favorite things, I know when you were on our TV show, you mentioned why you decided to learn how to knit. Could you just real quickly tell that story again? It's really powerful.
Sure. I decided to learn how to knit during the recession. Noel's Fire Protection had only been in business for about 4 years. And when you start a business, it's very stressful. And going through a recession all of a sudden, when you're just not quite, I don't know what I want to say, like settled, like your business isn't real stable yet. You're still developing everything. You're still building up that business. It's like a baby. You got to like birth it and then go through all the steps of having a business. It was extremely stressful. We were worried about losing the business. We were worried about finances constantly. And one day my daughter and I went into a craft store and I said, I'm going to teach myself how to knit. I had to take my mind off of my problems. It was, you know, and as soon as I took my mind off of myself and my problems and put it on to something completely different, everything worked out fine. Everything came into place.
Yeah, so it was that taking your mind off and engrossing yourself in learning something new and in experience the creativity, and also connecting with all these other women that you got to meet through that, right?
Yes, I mean, when I started learning how to knit, I taught myself how to knit. I made a blanket. My kids gave that blanket to a stray cat who came and gave birth to that on that blanket. So that blanket no longer exists. Had to go in the trash. But then I met a group of women at my church, and I started meeting with them monthly. And then after a while, it was funny because we would go out and visit other yarn stores. And I was sitting in the front seat of the car, and I was driving the one day. And the one lady who was sitting beside me, her name's Jody, she said, you know, somebody with some business sense should really used to open up another yarn store here in Hagerstown or in this area. And I was like, and there's my sign.
Yeah.
And that's what we did.
So you started out knitting and just felt so impassioned about it that you then did start 2 different yarn stores, one in Williamsport and then later one in Hagerstown.
Well, we had the one in Williamsport. It wasn't doing so well. I don't know if it was, I really do think location has a lot to do with where you put your business and how well it does.
Right.
And then Noel's Fire Protection was helping to do the building downtown, that Hamilton building. We were doing the sprinkler system in there. And my director of operations said, hey, why don't you come look at this space? I went downtown. I thought, there's no way. Everything I've heard about Hagerstown, I was like, there's no way. But you know what I learned? It's all about perception. Downtown Hagerstown is actually quite nice. I've had no problems down there, and my business flourished downtown. Flourished. Right. And then COVID hit.
Yeah, right. But you're undaunted. So, Melissa, tell us one of the things about knitting and crocheting in particular, from my perspective, is that there aren't really a lot of rules. You get to experiment and create different ideas and patterns. But for our Community Afghan, we just have like one little parameter, right, that we decided that we're going to do.
Only thing you need to do is make sure your square is a 4-inch by 4-inch square. And if you use a worsted weighted yarn, which is number 4 yarn, that works best. And just make sure it's a yarn that can be washed. So like a super wash wool or a heavier cotton, or some sort of blend or acrylic blend will work really well too.
And you're not saying that there needs to be a certain size hook or no.
No, everybody's tension and the way they work their yarn is different. So it's really hard to give that instruction. You kind of need to do it on your own and figure out what works for you.
Yeah, but when we were talking about this project, we said that that was one of the beauties of it, because we are all individuals, we're all unique, and we're looking to, regardless of our strengths and our weaknesses, come together. And so like my tension might be a little tight, especially if I'm mad, I crochet tighter than when I'm super relaxed and chill, then my tension's a little, but I do think that what we're looking to do is say that there are no rules other than this 4x4 square, because we recognize that everybody is unique, and we want our blanket, our Community Afghan, to reflect that diversity coming together to create one Afghan, right?
Correct. And you know what? And there's so many different ways to do granny squares also. So, choose what works best for you. We have a couple recommendations for you, but do what you feel comfortable doing and do what works well for you in that situation. You might have something totally different we've never seen before, and that's great because that's your uniqueness coming out in your art.
So Melissa, you did have one really unique granny square that actually is a symbol of hope. Could you talk about that and maybe share the pattern?
Sure. So this is a daisy granny square. It represents new beginnings. And I thought for this particular project, it's pretty appropriate for this new project.
We're hoping for new beginnings in 2021.
Yes, we are, aren't we? And the proceeds from the tickets that we sell for the raffle for this will be going to CASA. And I think new beginnings for those women.
Right. That's right. So a portion of the proceeds are going to go to support CASA. And in case you don't know, CASA is an organization that supports women and other people who have experienced domestic violence. And so we're really excited about that. Melissa, I know that you have some different little examples of how the daisy square looks.
So first you start off with a magic ring. And it just has 12 double crochets in the middle of just a simple ring is all it is. I just crochet 4 chains, join them together with a slip stitch, and then just crochet 12 double crochets in the middle of that.
Right.
So I know, we're on Zoom, it's hard to see, right? And then after that, I did the cute little petals. And the only thing that is I did 3 double crochets in each one of the tops of the stitches that go around, and then you just slide your hook and join them together.
Right.
So that you have these cute little petals.
It's like a slip stitch through the top.
Yes, and that's really all you do to make those cute little petals. And then after that, you just do a basic granny square, which is just a series of double crochets. And you just do 2 double crochets in the corner to make your corner. Now I did 2 rounds because I found that for my tension and for the hook I was using and for the yarn I was using, 2 rounds made a nice 4-inch square.
Right. So we will be posting a link to a video that gives very detailed examples and instructions on how to create this, and you can stop it and catch up. Also, Melissa, on her website, is that right? You have some.
Facebook.
Oh, on Facebook. So tell us your Facebook page.
It's probably under Williamsport Yarn Closet still, because that's my actual name of my business. I'm just doing business as the Yarn Shop, or you might be able to find it under the Yarn Shop. Okay. And you just go to the Facebook page. Also, I do weekly Zoom get-togethers with women. Join in, and if you have any questions regarding your project, I can help you with it during that time period. It's free. You just come on in, click on the link, and it's from 5:30 to 7 o'clock every Thursday evening.
And this is a blanket that I am almost finished. It is a wedding present for a friend of mine who met a man right before COVID hit. Their first date was the week before Governor Hogan shut schools down, and she was a teacher. So in the meantime, they were, spending tons of time together because neither one of them were going to work, and they had already established that they weren't exposed to anything. So anyhow, the really exciting thing is they are now getting married, and her favorite color is the sagey green, and his favorite color is blue, and they are connected by the white squares throughout this Afghan, which represents their shared experiences at their church and at the volunteer organizations they did. So, and then their lives are intertwined on the edging of the blanket.
Oh,
so anyhow, it was very fun for me to do. I'm almost finished it, and my granddaughter was here this weekend, and she's we just found out that her mom is expecting again. So she's I made a baby blanket for my 5 children and each of my grandchildren, and my oldest granddaughter will be a big sister, and she said, yeah, can I pick out the blanket for the baby's blanket? So anyhow, we got on the website and we picked out our blanket. So it was picked out the yarn. So it was very, very fun. So Melissa, is there anything else we need to share about this blanket?
Yes, I need you to mail the squares because of the current situation with the yarn store. All the squares need to be mailed to Noel's Fire Protection.
Okay.
So the address here is 12015 Kemps Mill Road, Williamsport, Maryland, 21795. And we'll post that up too.
Yeah, we'll put that both on my Facebook page, on the Primetime for Women website, as well as on Melissa's Facebook page. Melissa, thank you so much again for your time, for your community advocacy, for your willingness to share your talents and to inspire all of us to be resilient, to look beyond the immediate for the long-term benefit. So it's so great to have you on Mindful Monday.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Okay, thank you. Take care. We'll see you soon.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.